Get cool stuff for what you were going to do anyway. Drink beer. With Buy Beer, Get Gear from Labatt, you can just snap a photo of your receipt and upload it to the website to rack up points for exclusive merch. Get points for every purchase, whether you're grabbing a pint on draft, a case for a party, or a tall boy at the stadium. Any size, any product, anywhere you buy Labatt. Buy beer, get gear. Sign up now at rewards.labattusa.com.
Pros Broadcasting Stars Today, broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back, everybody, to Newhouse Afternoon. I'm Dylan Beyer here, as always, once again, with Alex Poll. How was your spring break? Back from spring break. You went to California.
I did.
How was it?
Colder than we thought, but it was still really nice out.
Okay.
Like I got to enjoy the sun a bit, which is something we have not had here in forever.
No.
So I'm happy with it.
Good. I went to Nashville. I got a bit of sun. Then I went to Aspen, and I didn't get any sun. I got 2 flights canceled, but we're here, and we made it back, and that's all that matters. And we're coming back to a very different Syracuse. Not only there's no more snow on the ground. Today's 70 degrees. It's raining, which Alex hates.
No.
Oh, no, she loves. Sorry, she loves. I hate.
Okay.
But we also have a new AD here at Syracuse. Brian Blair was named the new AD. He's currently the AD at Toledo. He is an NIL just maniac. In his college experience, he played football and he got a law degree. And that is something that, I did my research. That is something actually that I think is really important in this era of college athletics for your athletic director to have an understanding of the law or even a law degree like he does, especially with the NCAA and all of the changes they're going through. And when he was hired at Toledo, he was the youngest AD hired. And the fact that he was named in Forbes 40 under 40 list, he's shown a lot of improvements. What are your thoughts on this hire?
I completely agree and also appreciate the fact that he is a lawyer. I think that helps, especially like you mentioned, all the changing of everything going on in college athletics, and then you have NIL deals, everything with the broadcasting deals, who's going to do. There's so many contracts that are now becoming a huge portion of athletics. So having an AD that not only can hire someone to read it, go through it, their own layers, but be able to himself read it, understand everything, be able to take in everything that's going on within athletics and have a true understanding of it, I think is a super unique quality and is going to have a great impact on the future of Syracuse athletics. And also, he has done so much, not only for sports as a whole and everything at Toledo, but for women's sports and women's athletics. And that's something that also Felicia Leggett-Jack, the head coach of the basketball team here, made multiple comments on and how excited she is to work with him and that he sees them. He makes time and effort for women's sports, which is not something that is always done. It's something that, obviously ADs do, but someone that actually tries to prioritize that. And obviously Syracuse athletics are going to change so much in the coming years. But might I say the female athletics have been stronger than men's athletics in
100%.
multiple sports. In rowing, lacrosse now men's lacrosse is skyrocketing, but women's lacrosse has been significantly consistent. They're doing amazing right now. Women's rowing won the ACC 2 years ago. You have women's basketball who are going to March Madness and not men's, who's been 5 years dry in that spout. So you have such a strong female athletic program. And I think it's going to be great to see an AD that is just as excited as we are and how we've been talking about these sports all season, and see what he can do to help propel them even further.
Right. It is a very, very exciting hire, but he's not going to change Syracuse athletics in 1 year.
Absolutely not.
And I think that's an obvious, but I think it needs to be said because right now Syracuse athletics is on such of a downward spiral that people are expecting a new AD and a new head coach to come in and to just bring us back to relevancy next season for all of our teams. And that's just not going to happen because that's not realistic with the new rev sharing model, which is one of the most important things besides the next basketball head coach that he's going to have to figure out. How does he split up that $20.5 million across all teams, including the Olympic sports, which are as important, although they're not revenue sports. They are what keeps student athletes here and thriving on campus. So should there be more of an emphasis on football or men's basketball when it comes to rev sharing?
Oh.
Here's what I'll say. If you ask a Syracuse sports fan out there, they're going to say basketball, because Syracuse is a basketball school and Syracuse fans want to get back to Syracuse basketball just dominance.
Yeah.
But football is king. Football rules everything. And I don't see a world in which you can give more money to Syracuse basketball over Syracuse football right now, because as we've been talking about, when the conference realignments happen, your football team needs to be winning. Syracuse basketball fans want basketball to be winning, and of course that ties in to Syracuse as a brand and as a whole of how their athletics are doing. But I think there needs to be a stronger emphasis on Syracuse football rather than Syracuse basketball.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. I think that especially because, like you said, football is king in everything, and they also have a significantly larger program than a basketball team does, and they have Fran Brown, who, yes, Syracuse football did not do well this season. And so, but I think that especially with what we saw in Fran Brown's first season here, there is so much he can do with that team if he gets the right players, gets the roster he needs, gets the support he needs to build a program that he is capable of building, because we know he can. He came in having some players follow him because of his, recruiting abilities and everything. And he did very well with that first team. Last year, not so much. It also was because of the quarterback situation. But I think that if he's able to have the money, the support, everything he needs to build a bigger program, have more depth on the quarterback side, be able to build a stronger team, he's going to have what I think, like we just said, the AD is not going to have immediate success right away. But I think that football is a sport where you can have more immediate success with what they already have, the structure that program has, compared to basketball, where it's going to be everything is brand new. The entire coaching staff, they're still looking for a head coach. There's so much unknown over there. And yes, it's a smaller roster, but I think basketball is a lot harder, also with significantly more games that they play, that it's going to be a lot harder to make that an kind of like automatic big team, bring the program back to Syracuse, where football, I think that in some ways that's an easier-ish job to do, and somewhere that fans can hop onto that bandwagon being like, yes, we're back. Basketball is going to take a lot longer, so I definitely do also agree that football needs to get more money than basketball does.
And if I'm Syracuse, I'm looking at a school like Indiana as a case study, because Indiana football, they went from one of the worst teams to the best team in the nation in almost a year, 2 years. But you see what hiring the right coach and getting a transfer quarterback can do to a team. But then you look at what it did for Indiana basketball. Their revenue went up, more fans attended their game, and more people bought into Indiana athletics as a whole. So as much as Syracuse basketball is on the minds of every fan and every media outlet out there, I think the emphasis in the conversation should be around Syracuse football, because that trickle effect, if they do well, is going to trickle into basketball and every 100%. Other part of Syracuse's brand. Now, focusing on Syracuse basketball, because that is the biggest unknown right now, and the biggest job that Brian Blair has to do right now is hire the next head coach of the Syracuse basketball team after Adrian Autry got fired. And Blair said that he's not talked to any specific coaches, but he has talked to agents of coaches. And there's two names, there's a lot of names out there right now that are getting named, but two of the biggest ones right now are Brian Hodson and GMAC. So let's start with Brian Hodson. Right now, he's in March Madness with his team at USF, first-year head coach. But Providence is rumored to also be in the running for him. But what he's done right now at USF, he's USF ranks nationally in field goal attempts and 3-point attempts, which is hello. I mean, what does Syracuse need to get better at? Those two things. My worry, and it's my same worry with GMAC coming back potentially as the head coach, is they're both in their first year as a head coach.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can evaluate a 1-year coaching stint experience in this era of college athletics.
Yeah, I mean,
because,
Fran Brown had a phenomenal first season.
Right. When your rosters are completely changing over every season, I wouldn't qualify one season making it to March Madness for both GMAC and Hodgson as, oh, we need to get that guy. He's a winner. I just don't see it in this era.
I think the hard thing is that it came to the question I think you asked me like 2 weeks ago is, do you want a new, younger head coach, or do you want someone who's more disciplined and has more experience to kind of rile this team in? And if you do want that, you know, younger, I guess, coach, you can go with those two options, but it does concern me that they're both first-year head coaches. And also, from the way that they've, at least GMAC has been speaking, is even when people were asking him, hey, you've been named, people are talking about you, he's like, yeah, I'm not paying attention to that. I don't really care. That he also made both of them are in their first year, they made commitments to other teams. They made commitments to programs and have been successful in those in their first years. Are they willing to leave? And then a huge portion of that is, what money does Syracuse have to convince them to do so?
Right. Hodgson also signed a 6-year, $8.25 million contract with USF. So his buyout starts at $2 million a year for USF. So is USF willing to let him go? Obviously, if he takes the job, there's nothing they can do about it. But if I had to pick between Hodgson and GMAC, I'm going with Hodgson. I think you have to break away from the past of Syracuse. And GMAC has had success at Siena because maybe he's brought some things that he learned at Syracuse to a new team. But when Boeheim said, Autry, you're the head coach, nothing changed. It actually got worse.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that if GMAC comes, he's going to do what Autry did, but I think Syracuse basketball fans, and at least I, want a fresh, new, clean slate. I want that younger coach. I just want Syracuse basketball to be new. No more 2-3 zone, no more Boeheim era. We're in a completely different era of not only Syracuse basketball, but of college athletics, and I think you need somebody who has no history here, who can make his own history.
Yeah, I think that it also then sort of depends on the sport, but I do agree with it in this sense. And that's kind of a situation Syracuse runs into a lot. You had not only, so women's hockey, after Coach Flanagan left, they won everything. Like, they won their league, won their conference. Like, that team was phenomenal that year. Flanagan leaves, brings in Brittany Smith. Someone that he then coached. And then you have, when Gary Gay moves to men's lacrosse, brings in Kayla Traynor, played for the women's lacrosse team. Kayla Traynor is now gone. And then they keep going back to their alumni, which, not that there's necessarily a problem with that. I mean, you also have to find someone who's willing to come to upstate New York where it's freezing cold and deal with snowstorms all the time, and whatever the money situation is. So maybe they want to keep that alumni type thing rolling. It is not successful for Syracuse right now in multiple sports. Lacrosse sort of now starting to be that outlier. And I completely agree with you. You need something new. I love GMAC, what he has done with Siena, how much those players have bought into him. But he's bringing, like you said, his Syracuse knowledge there. Right. There isn't much that he built at Siena that he couldn't have learned much there. He's the head coach to then bring that back to Syracuse. He's bringing back everything from Boeheim. Boeheim was successful, but with everything changing, you're not keeping players for 4 years. There's so much change going on that you can't just keep relying on everything that used to happen in the past. You need new, you need fresh, and you need Hodgson.
Well, a very, very important time for Syracuse men's basketball, but maybe an even more important time for Syracuse women's basketball, who made the big dance. When we come back, we will preview their big game against Iowa State. Stay with us.
Syracuse University is...
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, what else did I
Every
write
single
down?
week, I forget to take my earrings off, and then like 5
You take
minutes
them off?
because it like stabs me in the back of the like. The way that these ones fit, those ones are different. The way that these ones like our headphones are different. I've worn those before.
yeah.
But these ones, where the like pad of the headphone is, it like pushes the stabby portion of my earring.
By the way, so both Alex and I almost died yesterday on our flights into Syracuse. Both
Mom,
had
stop listening.
both had botched
Please stop listening.
both had botched landings, separate flights, but we're here now, we're safe. But I was trying to distract myself last night watching the World Baseball Classic. The emotion that I get from watching the World Baseball Classic is like it's better than a Game 7 of a World Series. Like it is so fun to watch. That game last night was so fun, even though it was a 2-1 game and everyone thought it was going to be a high scoring game because it's the Dominican Republic. It's so fun to watch, and I mean, baseball, like the NBA, just has a huge problem right now of not only marketing their games, but the actual production that they're putting on the field and the court. They have to find a way to like replicate that, and I know it's very hard to replicate that much press and that much noise when you have 162 games in a baseball season, and not every game is going to be played like a Game 7 like it is in the World Baseball Classic right now. But you have so many people tuning in, and I truly think that the MLB has to start expanding internationally like every other league is. I know that they played games in Japan last year, I think it was. They started their season. But man, the WBC is really entertaining, and I would love to see the MLB kind of in the near future expand and do something different, because baseball, yes, is a classic, America's old-time game. It's our sport, whatever, but I think it's a dying sport. Like when people say, "Do you watch baseball?" people usually answer, "Ugh, it's so boring." Like, why would I watch baseball? It's so boring. Yeah, exactly. 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 And I love what they did with the pitch clock. They're making the games faster, but it's still a very hard sport to like tune into. But last night, I have to say, I was so tuned into every inning and every pitch because the lineups are insane. And I get that's what the Dodgers are trying to do with their insane declining paying players until their last season where they're done, and that should be completely illegal, and the Dodgers should be banned from playing baseball. But I don't know, there's just something about that game last night where I was like, the MLB has a great product. Like they can do so much with the game. They're just not. So
yeah, I've watched baseball games before where I have gotten lucky. That's the thing. I think it's the same way with literally any sport. I've watched golf before at this point. I was like, when people put that on the TV, I'm like, I'm going to get up and walk out of the room. Like, I just couldn't bring myself to care. I think now with certain sports, it's if there's something on the line. Like, there has to be some sort of drawing factor to it. And with that, when you have such an insanely stacked lineup of these teams, I think it's like you give yourself like one inning, and then it's kind of like, are you staying, are you leaving?
Right.
And 99% of the time, I will be leaving.
It's every sport. It's basketball. Hockey's different though, because hockey players just want to kill each other every time they step on the ice, and that passion is always there. And football, it's one game, and they have limited games. Football doesn't have that problem. It's really basketball and baseball that have to work on their product. Basketball, I think LeBron James needs to retire, and we need to move on.
You hate him.
I hate him. He needs to move on, retire, and the league needs to start fresh.
I think with some people, it's more of like
1200
like you said with
a.m. and
hockey.
1440
Like, it's not a contact sport, it's a collision sport. Like, it's just
Watch your favorite ESPN Syracuse sports talk shows on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
All right, everyone. Happy Monday. Happy first day back from spring break. It's a rainy day, but it's a warm day, so we'll take it. And we will definitely take Syracuse women's basketball being the number 9 seed in March Madness. They're matched up against number 8 Iowa State on March 21st in the first round of March Madness. So everyone can be happy because Syracuse basketball is back in March Madness. Maybe it's not the men's team, but you can still say Syracuse basketball made it to March Madness. Now, this is the second time under FLJ that they're going to the tournament. They're 2-0 all-time against Iowa State. They didn't play them this season, or they played them in the 23-24 season. It's a whole new team. And starting on the Syracuse side for this matchup, Dominique Darius is out all of March Madness after her hand got injured in the ACC tournament, which she'll require surgery. And this is a really big blow because this is one of your all-star seniors who averaged 12 points per game and 3 rebounds and 3 assists per game. And she leads the team in average and assists, so she truly is a key player. So now it's who's going to step up from that roster and replace her. There is no replacing her, but it's who in March can be that person and step up in her place.
I'm going to say Layla Filia. She's someone that's just done such a phenomenal job all season. Anytime a player has been injured, has been out for a game, you see that the stat leader in that game has constantly been her. She does such a great, she's just so versatile also on the court. And I think that, like you said, no one can really replace Dominique Darius, but I think the team as a whole can fill that gap when you have certain players taking 1 or 2 steps up and combined. I think that it is going to be, playing without her is going to have a significant impact on this team, but they do have so many other players. Sophie Burrows, Layla Filia, Maddie Potts has stepped up in multiple games before. And then, of course, Uche Ezechie. There's no one like her. So with all those other players, I think they're going to be able to fill that gap. My only concern is it is March. You're playing game after game. There may be some wear and tear on all the other players that I think that's where they're going to mainly be feeling the loss is not in the game, but it's when they play more games down the road, however far they make it.
Well, here's the problem. If Syracuse advances, they got the number 1 seed in UConn, which I don't even want to look that far ahead. Let's focus on this game and not stress ourselves out about potentially facing UConn. But when you look at Syracuse's season, I would call Syracuse's season consistent. They've won, they've lost, but they've rebounded from those losses. When you look at Iowa State's season, they started this season 14-0. Powerhouse. Then they went on a 5-game losing streak, and then they finished their season winning, losing. So this Iowa State team is very unpredictable. The only predictable part about this Iowa State team is Audi Crooks, and she scares me so much because for those who don't, she is like the Caitlin Clark currently of women's college basketball. She averages 25.5 points per game. She leads all of women's college basketball in all of women's college basketball points per game. But she leads her team in points per game, rebounds, and blocks. And this is why losing Dominique is so big, because that was someone who could attest to her. And those are your 2 biggest opponents in terms of offense going up against each other. So now Iowa State on offense 100% has the advantage in terms of scoring, but as we said, Syracuse has Uche Ezechie, who is 4th in all of women's college basketball in blocks. So that matchup between Uche and Crooks is going to be seriously must see. This is almost, it's not the level of Caitlin Clark, Angela Reese, but when you really look at what they've both done with their seasons, it's going to be a great matchup for the two of them.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that one. I've seen so much recently about Audie Crooks and the hype behind her, what she's accomplished this season, and then also she's accomplished to make it to this point in her basketball season. Such a great story. And she is one to watch on the court. So seeing her against Uche, that's going to be so entertaining to watch. And I think that that's, like you mentioned, going to be one of the biggest parts of this game, whether it's win or lose, is who's having a better game. Is it Uche on her defensive end, or is it going to be Crooks?
Correct. And so on an individual level, as we're talking, Uche needs to stay out of foul trouble, because if you lose Uche, Audie's going to go off. That's a non-negotiable. But in terms of your overall play, Syracuse has to win the rebounding battle. This is a game of rebounds. This is a game of foul shots. Every point matters. This is a number 9 versus a number 8. Just like it is in men's basketball, these two teams are so closely matched up. I would right now give the advantage to Iowa State just because of the loss of Dominique Darius. But I truly think under FLJ and with Uche and with Sophie Burrows, this team can pull this upset off.
100% they can. And what I think is the most important, like you said, is Uche staying out of foul trouble, because Crooks drives, like, she has such a phenomenal shot, but she also is very physical, and it's someone that's going to be very easy to then foul. So if you get into that trouble, especially with Uche, not only will that potentially take her out of the game, but then also, even if she's getting close to foul trouble, FLJ is not going to risk her staying in. She's going to have to keep pulling her off the court, which then you're going to feel the loss of Dominique Darius and Uche in that sense. And Crooks is also phenomenal at the free throw line. So just putting her there in general is going to be a struggle for all of Syracuse defense. And I don't even think that it's Uche that needs to stay out of foul trouble. I think it's the team as a whole.
Yeah, great point. Yeah, so we'll see this Saturday who comes out victorious. Hopefully it's Syracuse, and then we can all stress about facing the number 1 seeded UConn Huskies. But when we come back talking about upsets, Syracuse women lacrosse had their best game of the season and their best upset of the season. We'll talk about that when we get back.
This is Orange Nation.
Pleased to be joined by Mike
I was like,
Tirico.
I'm waiting. Are you going to the game tomorrow?
The
Women's lacrosse?
No. I don't I don't think. What do I have tomorrow? What time is it at?
I thought it was at 5, but apparently it's at 4:30. So I'll be going at 5:30.
Okay. Okay. Wait, I feel like I had something. Oh, I feel like I had something important tomorrow. Tomorrow's St. Patrick's Day. I'm so excited.
You can't go to the game because it's St. Patrick's Day?
No, I'm just saying. I thought I couldn't because I'm like, something's happening tomorrow.
St. Patty's Day.
It's St. Patty's Day. Not that I am Irish, but.
I am.
You're Irish?
Yeah, my mom's Irish.
Oh.
Yeah, and my dad got me a cookie. I don't know where he got it from, and I don't think he should tell me. I think it's the best cookie I have actually ever had in my life.
Really?
I have part of it still here with me. I don't know how.
Is it from Long Island?
Yeah, I was home yesterday before my flight. He handed it to me. I don't know where he got it from. I honestly don't want to know, because that will become an actual problem. It was just like, okay. It was
what type of cookie is it?
It was the sugar, like the sugar cookie with like the sugar crystal things on top.
Okay.
But when you have one of those, usually you bite into like a cookie, it's kind of like dry, it's crumbly. This cookie was so soft for some reason, but like the outer layer, where it was so, I don't know how to describe it. It was so crunchy at the
We
inside
need
was
the
soft.
name of this bakery immediately.
No, I don't want the name. I'm gonna actually get a cookie from there
Poll,
every week.
Put it in the comments.
It's gonna be a problem. I'm scared. I don't know. I was gonna ask him where it was from, and I don't want to ask him. You can have a piece after this. Share it. No, because you need to understand. Like, I don't even know how to describe it.
I'm not a big cookie person.
Okay, neither am I. You can ask my roommates. They make fun of me. They're like, you don't snack. I was like, what do you mean? I'm like, I snack. They're like,
I'd rather big meals.
My friends, my roommates are like, Alex, you ate prosciutto as your snack yesterday. You don't snack. Or like cheese, or like you don't actually eat like cookies, and all of them are like snacking on cookies all night. I'm like, ooh, like we're like all watching TV together, doing homework, like, oh, I'm gonna get a snack. I'm like, oh yeah, me too. And I come back with like a bowl of rice or like a chicken cutlet, and they're like, okay, I just made a bowl of ice cream and like Thin Mints. I'm like, yeah, no. But like I did, but this cookie, Dylan.
Okay.
I don't know how to describe it. It's
She's
like as
talking
if
it
it
up.
had a shell around it. Like you bite, it was like the outside was super like hard, like crispy, but then it was so soft. I don't know. It's all I've been able to think about since yesterday when I ate it in the airport, and I saved myself. I knew it would. That's what I was concerned about. My mom just texted me where it's from. It's from Duck Island Bakery. It's okay. So Madison actually worked there.
Okay.
It's this bakery on Long Island. There's one, I think it's in like Northport or something was the original location, but now they have one in Huntington. So it's like if you go off Main Street and then to the left, like past the fire station where like Southdown is, this bakery is to die for.
Oh
and my
my
dad goes
God.
all the time, so when he's like, oh, I got you a cookie, I'm like, where else could it have been besides Duck Island? Like, where would he ever go that has cookies? But I didn't want to know that, because now I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get cookies all the time, and I don't want
Yes.
cookies. No, that's a problem. But thanks for letting me know, Mom. Appreciate you. She texted me, she's like, Duck Island. I know, that's what I thought, but it's so good. Mom, you have to eat the cookie. It's gonna be good. I'm gonna tell Madison to eat her cookie too. Because he said he got each of us a cookie. I don't know. That's all I've been able to think about.
Honestly, the
It's been
best
like
food.
infiltrating my brain.
The barbecue I ate in Nashville has been infiltrating my brain. And remember, I haven't ate meat for 6 years. I've been pescatarian.
Yeah. So
That was the first time I
oh wow.
pigged out on ribs and brisket and chicken. I literally went up to the counter. I'm like, I'm breaking my fast of 6 years of meat. And they're like, you're doing it here? And I'm like, yeah, where else would you do it besides Nashville? Nashville was awesome. Actually, probably one of the best trips I've ever taken.
I would
Everyone
recommend.
should go.
I was gonna say, I would recommend everyone go to Joshua, not to Nashville, but to Joshua Tree. That place
ESPN
was
97.7 and 100.1. Watch live on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
All right, welcome back. I'm Dylan Beyer here with Alex Poll. And very, very exciting spring break, not only because of the destinations we went to, the food that we ate, but Syracuse women's lacrosse, finally, after starting the season on a 3-game losing streak, is now on a 5-game winning streak and is looking like how their preseason expectations ramped them up to be. They're number 9 now in the country. Not that rankings matter at this point. But let's dive into the game where they beat number 4 Northwestern 9-6 at Northwestern's home. Molly Guzik had 6 goals in that game. Alex, I know you've been waiting to talk about this one.
I'm so ready. Okay, this was just such a massive game for Syracuse. Not only was it Northwestern is a team that they have fallen to a lot in seasons where they've been undefeated, seasons where everyone's like they're going to win the national championship. That's the team they fall to. That and Boston College. And then on top of it, it is the second time they have ever beat Northwestern away at Northwestern. So that's just an accomplishment itself. But Northwestern's ranked number 4 in the nation. And when you're a team that, like you mentioned, had a losing streak at the start and is now on a roll where everyone expected their roll to end, was that game. And being able to prove that you can come out on top is so important for the rest of their schedule, because we'll get into the rest of the schedule later. But tomorrow they have Yale, then they have Virginia, 2 high-ranked teams. But the Northwestern game, Molly Guzik, 6 goals.
It's almost like it's Joey Spalina, but it's
Yep.
not. It's Molly
But
Guzik.
it's not. But it's better. It is Molly Guzik. So what I think is super important about this Syracuse team is that they were up after the first quarter. It was by 1 point. This was a close game, but they were up by 1. That, I think, is important because they have a strong start. But what I think showed the most promise of this team is, yes, they were up by halftime, again, 1 point. But coming out in the third quarter and winning that quarter 2-0 is what is the most promising part of this whole thing.
100%.
Is that they are a team that has fallen behind and trailed by 1 point, 2 points in multiple games this season, and games that they lost by a point or two, and they were never able to crawl back. They had short stints, but they were never really able to take over the games and win that third quarter, fourth quarter, and seal a win. So they were, not only were they up, but they were able to hold on to it and try to start to bury Northwestern when it came into that third quarter. And I think that was super important, is coming out of the gate in the second half from that halftime and knowing how to come out with just firing.
Yeah, you also look at the stats from this game. Syracuse beat Northwestern virtually in turnovers, clears, ground balls, but not draw controls, which I know is something that you've talked about a lot with this Syracuse women's lacrosse team. What is it about draw controls that maybe this team hasn't figured out just yet?
I think that there's a bit to talk about there. So that's definitely going to be my biggest concern, and has always been, and now continues to be throughout the season, is that is something they're just not able to figure out yet. And then the times that they have gotten a couple is when they do a switch up at that X, like on the draw. It's just something there just isn't clicking, and it's a matter of they dig themselves a bit of a hole, because draw controls are 50-50. Thankfully, they're winning those ground balls. That's another thing. But between those two, the draw controls are even more important, because if you score, or if the other team scores, you want the ball back to get another shot. And that's just not happening for them. They're not able to control it. And it's a lot of allowing the other team for self-draws. So it's, in some ways, it's been a very clean. They've done a very clean job of not having the ball fly in different directions. And that's sort of something that's changed in women's lacrosse. The draw used to be, you basically chuck it up as high in the air as you can, and it's whoever can jump higher and catch it in their stick. The world of draw controls has completely changed. It's a self-draw where you only have to clear it above your head. So the players are trying to twist it and get it right in front of their eye line. And they're basically catching it right above eye height. So it's nothing crazy, but they're just not able to get that perfect flick in their wrist and control to their side, so it keeps going to the other team. And then thankfully they're more aggressive on the ground ball, so they've been able to pick up a couple and gain themselves the possession, but in clean draws, they're just not able to get them.
Yeah, and that's definitely something, looking ahead to tomorrow's game against Yale, that they're definitely going to have to clean up. I can't call it a trap game because Yale is ranked ahead of them.
Correct.
But it is a trap in terms of Syracuse is playing at home. They just beat Northwestern. They have all the momentum for them. They feel really good. It almost feels like they're going to be shell-shocked by this Yale team tomorrow night. And you asked if I was going to the game tomorrow. It's at 4:30 in the Dome.
Yes, it is.
I said it's St. Patrick's Day. I don't know if I can go. But I just read that it's the Syracuse's Luck of the Orange game, and they're giving out pom-poms. So maybe I have to go now.
Oh, because you want a pom-pom.
I want a pom-pom.
Well, I have different reasons to be going to this game. Well, one thing I will say, though, is for the draw controls of Yale. So last year, Syracuse had a very strong program again. They were expected to make it to, the tournament, make it really far, make it to Final Four, like championship weekend. There were so many high aspirations for this team. And they played Yale last season and the season before. And the season before, they had played them during the tournament. But last year, they played them during the season, and they got destroyed. Destroyed on the draw controls. Every other aspect of the game, they were doing better than Yale, but on the draw controls, Yale did a better job, and Yale beat them. And now this season for draw controls, Yale has won over 100 draw controls and only let their opponents get 60.
Yeah.
So that is going to be very, very difficult for the Orange squad to be able to come up in. But you actually know two people that will be playing in the Dome tomorrow. From our high school, Paris Panagopoulos and Skylar Cohen, two girls I played lacrosse alongside. And Paris I've known the entirety of my life. And Skylar even went to lower and middle school with over at Greenville before going to Friends. two of my closest friends. I was the captain of my lacrosse team with them. Was texting on the phone with Paris all morning. They are on their way to Syracuse now and will be playing in the
I
Dome
gotta go now.
tomorrow. I think that is more than reason enough for you to have to go to this game.
We'll see how this game turns out. It's going to be a great, great, great game. So everyone should go tomorrow at 4:30 in the Dome. And before the men come back, they have one more game in the Mile High City. We'll preview that game and recap the games over spring break for Syracuse men's lacrosse right when we come back.
Check out Mike Bristol's
I forgot that they played.
Yeah, and then not only do they play,
oh, I'm sure they're crazy good.
Paris is one of the draw controllers for this team. She had 5 against BU, 3 against Michigan, Central Connecticut State. She had 2 goals. And then in their game oh my gosh, was it yesterday? Or 2 days ago, they played against UConn, and she had 2 draw controls. So I'm hoping to see her in the circle tomorrow.
Okay.
It's going to be fun.
Well, not that this has anything to do with anything we've been talking about, but in terms of the NFL, free agency.
Oh, for
there's been because you're a Jet fan.
I am.
And I want to talk about your Jets for a second.
Ooh, okay.
Geno Smith comes back to the Jets. Why? I don't understand it. Geno Smith, he's a great quarterback. But I just don't understand what the New York Jets are doing. Are you rebuilding or are you trying to win now?
I thought you were going to be nice. I thought she was like, oh, yeah.
I'm being nice. I just don't understand the Jets' game plan. 1 year they're rebuilding and 1 year they're like, let's get a veteran quarterback at the end of his career what do we do? I don't know. I'm very confused.
It's because you're not a Jets fan. You just don't get it.
Thank God. Thank God I am not a Jet. I don't want to ever get it, Alex. I don't want to ever get it. Woo. Some other, Geno Smith really is the big one, I would say. No, when I heard that Kenneth Walker got signed with the Chiefs, that is the most surprising, because it's almost like the NFL is now replicating college athletics right now, and it's like I don't think I've ever seen the Super Bowl of an MVP leave his team right after to go to the Chiefs. And then that entices, unfortunately, Travis Kelce to come back for another year. And it's like, now the Chiefs want to win it all again in 1 year? Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand the NFL right now. And then, oh my God, there's just so much NFL news to talk about. And then you had the whole Ravens Max Crosby situation.
No, that was crazy.
I've never seen a tweet from Adam Schefter saying, A, that they backed out of a trade, but B, because someone didn't pass their physical. Never. That's I want to know exactly what he failed.
Like, yeah.
Because, he just got a massive contract extension from the Raiders. He played well last season. He's one of the best defensive players in the NFL. It was no surprise that another team was going to try to trade for him, and he's wanted out of the Raiders for a while now because the Raiders aren't going to win anything. It's just weird. And then the Ravens back out of it, and they're like, we're going to go sign Trey Hendrickson, who I don't think is better than Max Crosby.
No.
So I'm very confused.
Yeah. I need a report.
Yeah,
I need to see the physical.
Yeah.
I need to see what exactly
Right, because
there.
if the Ravens are concerned with a part of his physical, then if you're the Raiders and you stay with Crosby, aren't you just as concerned with a part of his physical that he didn't pass? Or they just said that because Trey Hendrickson, they wanted him more, and he was interested.
Exactly.
Very weird situation.
It's a very weird situation because a lot of dominoes kind of got moved around there.
Yeah.
So
I do think the Ravens got better, though. The Ravens didn't get worse losing out on Crosby. They didn't get as good of a player, but Trey Henderson is a great player. He's a great player for the Bengals. And I know the Ravens started last season, 0-3, 0-4, and they were never really able to come back for that. But, man, you have Zay Flowers, Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, and now Trey Hendrickson. It's like last year I really thought they were going to win it all. This year, I think they have a better chance.
Watch your favorite ESPN Syracuse sports talk shows on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
All right, for our last 10 minutes with you, we will recap and preview the most exciting team. Is Syracuse men's lacrosse the most exciting team that's currently playing for Syracuse? Or do we have to give that title to women's basketball because they're just the nature of where they are right now?
I'd kind of go with men's lacrosse.
You'd go with men's lacrosse? I think
it's also because I am a lacrosse person.
True, so bias. Okay.
A little bit bias there.
Bias. I would say I think I'm more worried about Syracuse women's basketball because of the loss we talked about and because it's March, and March makes me very nervous.
I think it's exciting that they're in March, but I also think that after that game, if they do it, playing UConn, it's more if there's not a lot of future excitement. There's a lot of lacrosse left to play, so it's kind of a little more exciting.
Yes. So Syracuse men's lacrosse is on a 3-game winning streak.
Yes.
They beat Johns Hopkins and they beat Army. You look at the scores of both those games. They beat Johns Hopkins 12-8. They beat Army 17-11. You think to yourself, oh, they played great in both those games. They probably played better in the Army game, winning by 6 instead of winning by 3 or whatever in the Johns Hopkins games. That Army game was very difficult to watch, from how they started to how they finished. We talked about the starts. They started so slow in that game. And yes, I understand. They're in Colorado. I was just there. The altitude gets to you. Okay, my friend fainted at dinner.
Oh.
The altitude does get to you. The time difference, I get it. But it's still an Army team that you look at the matchup, wasn't supposed to be as close of a game maybe as it turned out to be. So the start for Syracuse was definitely concerning, and then how they finished the game was concerning, because they had that game almost wrapped, I would say, in the late third quarter, early fourth, and then all of a sudden it's like they gave up almost at the end of the game. So it's just a little, I don't think Syracuse lacrosse has an identity problem. They're very confident in who leads this team and who backs this team up. I think there's a consistency problem with Syracuse men's lacrosse, not in the outcomes of the game, but how they actually play in the games.
Okay. I think
you
that
don't have to agree.
No, I'm not saying that I agree or disagree right now. I think that there is, not necessarily neutral. I think there is a consistency problem, but I think that I think they kind of figured it out already. Like, they were struggling a lot at the start. There weren't many players stepping up. Now they have so many filling the gaps. Like, you can't say that there are many other teams where some of their top scorers can go 2-3 games without having a goal, and you still are crushing other teams.
They have depth.
They have so much depth. You had Peyton Anderson, I think, went at least 1 game, maybe 2, without having any goals, but then when they played Air Force, he had 2.
Right.
So, and then you also have Joey Spallina, who I think is very much so settling into his role. Because he has always said, and I just feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over, pass first player. Okay. But he hasn't really been fulfilling that so far this season, and I think it's because they do have so much depth, and it's a matter of trusting the rest of the players on the team, the rest of the people who are starting. They have freshmen, you have sophomores who are taking up a lot of this playing time with Wyatt Hoddle, Bo Kahn, Peyton Anderson. So I think that Joey Spallina was sort of like, am I the scorer? Am I passing? What am I doing? Then you had Michael Leo being like, you're not putting up any assists. Let me do it. Kind of each of them trying to figure out, they're kind of all playing every role,
Right.
which they're all phenomenal enough players to do so. Not necessarily a problem. But then that sort of leads to that inconsistency and the lack of leadership.
Right.
But I think that the Air Force game is sort of exactly what proved that now they know who they are and they're getting consistent, because you have Joey Spallina with 8 assists in this game. Have you ever seen, like, no that is not a normal thing. And then Michael Leo shifted over to the goal scoring side with 5 goals, Finn Thompson with 3, and then Tucker Kellogg and Peyton Anderson with 2 apiece. So you're starting to see that the rest of their depth is starting to show up and gain comfortability with shooting, which is now letting Spallina be the assist man that he always said that he is, and he's proving to be exactly that.
It's just not consistent yet, in my opinion.
In what way?
Because in the Johns Hopkins game, Spallina wasn't a pass-first player. He had 4 goals. And then you go to the Air Force game, he has 0 goals and 8 assists. I'm not saying that Joey Spallina needs to be your top goal scorer every single game. It's just concerning that we've talked about in the past where games that Joey hasn't been that goal scorer first. Sometimes Wyatt Hoddle doesn't step up. Sometimes Luke Roa doesn't step up. Yes, in this Air Force game, Michael Leo did step up with 5 goals. But I haven't seen that consistently where if Spallina isn't a goal scorer first and he's going to be a passer first, that there's at least 3 to 4 guys behind him who step up when he, like a game in Air Force, has no goals.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a matter of stepping up. It's they're finding their spot on the field. Spallina shouldn't need to score all that many goals.
No.
And I don't think the fact that he didn't have any goals in that game honestly means anything. I don't think he needs to Okay, but but you know what? No, I will continue that. I don't think he really needs to score any if he's going to continue to have 8 assists. And that also comes down to the defense of the other program. If you're having an Air Force team that is starting to lock down on Spallina, you have so much other talent. I think that they're staying comfortable with knowing he's going to keep being that assist man. Then you related it to the Hopkins game. Well, in the Hopkins game, they didn't lock him down as hard. They didn't put as much pressure on him. They didn't have a second slide. That's why he was passing so much in the next game. And it's not necessarily, Leo learned to step up because Spallina couldn't. It's Michael Leo is playing a Michael Leo lacrosse game. He is just as good in scoring, and so is Finn Thompson. So they're just playing their normal game. It's just like, it's not that, oh my gosh, he had more than Spallina did, he didn't have any. It's no, he was the one that was giving them those assists and dishing those passes to them, giving them those opportunities to shine the way that both of them are such great attackmen. They've sort of just been playing in Spallina's shadow. But now that he's being comfortable, having those assists, the rest of the guys are stepping up, like, not even stepping up, but they're just filling what their roles are.
Yeah, and I think tonight's game in Denver will be very telling because they're going up against a DU team that's number 14 in the nation. Yep. They're 4-2. They're coming off a very, very low-scoring loss to Ohio State where they lost 4-6. Now, here's what's confusing, and here's a question I'll pose to you. Denver demolished Air Force in the second game of the season 10-2, right?
Yeah.
But then it's like, wait, that was the second game of the season. So if you're going to say that and you're going to say, well, how do you really evaluate that early season game, a 10-2 game? But if that's your reasoning, then how do you evaluate Syracuse's win against Maryland? Don't you have to, same rules apply there? It was an early season game for Maryland. Syracuse maybe... That game doesn't mean as much now looking back on it, just like if we're talking about, well, this DU team demolished Air Force, but Syracuse didn't. Well, that was an early season game, so same rules have to apply to Maryland, doesn't it?
Absolutely not.
Why?
Because a Denver Air Force game is in no way the same caliber as a Maryland and Syracuse game at all. I don't think that those two games are even in the same conversation as each other. And Syracuse still did, in some ways, demolish Air Force. It was 17-11. I don't think in any way that that's like, oh, they didn't play that great. I mean, Air Force didn't score more than 4 goals a quarter. The rest were 2, 3. That's not like there was any point in the game where Air Force was dominating Syracuse or taking over Syracuse or making Syracuse struggle in the same way that they didn't do that to Denver. And I think that it just shows that Air Force did have some growth throughout the season, as does every other team, hopefully. So to say that I think that the Denver Air Force game matters a bunch. It's not to say that Denver's necessarily better than Syracuse, because Syracuse played Air Force when they had more time together as a team. Syracuse also has gotten better as a team. They lost to Princeton, lost to Harvard, lost these games, and now they're coming back and defeating other big opponents. So Syracuse is getting better. Air Force got better. So that's not to say that Syracuse won't then be able to beat Denver. And I think that the Maryland game, yes, it happened early in the season, but it was early in the season for both teams. It's not like, oh, it was early in Syracuse.
And Maryland hasn't.
Oh, it was only early in Maryland season. It was early in both their seasons. On their first games of the season, I think that win is just as important if it happened then as if it happened this week.
Yeah, I guess my stance on it is also Maryland hasn't lived up to their number 1 preseason expectation. So was Maryland's a great lacrosse team. I'm not discrediting Maryland, but maybe at the time were they really as that number 1 team that they were expected to be. Again, it was early in the season, so no one really knew. Those were just the preseason polls. But I don't think Maryland was the true number 1 team at the time.
I think you can't really say that. I think that it comes down to the fact that rankings don't matter. We talk about them, we're like, oh, it's a ranked opponent. I think that just the fact that someone's ranked is like, oh, that means that they're supposed to be a good team. It's going to be a good caliber matchup. But rankings and the numbers themselves do not matter, especially in the current phase of college men's lacrosse. There's been, 5 different teams that have been number 1. And like you said, it's preseason rankings, so it's based off of last season, what transfers they might have gotten, what new players they have. But that's not the end-all be-all. So maybe they shouldn't have been number 1 at the time, but I think based off of the knowledge that everyone had, it made sense for them to be number 1 then.
Well, we'll see what happens tonight at 8 p.m. in Colorado. Hopefully, Syracuse can extend their winning streak to 4. For today, that's all. I'm Dylan Beyer with Alex Poll. We will see you next week.
This is Orange Nation.
Pleased to be joined by Mike Tirico.
We could still get 30,000 people in the Dome. Look, this team did not inspire fans over the